Hey, Crypto Growth fam, how's it going? This is your host Shazib signing in. We're back with another video, guys. In this video, we will be discussing Quant Network. What the Fintech? It's going to be an interesting one, guys, so make sure to watch till the end. And, folks, for those of you who are new to the channel, we primarily discuss utility coins and potential gems. If you're interested in any of that stuff, then subscribe the channel and hit the notification icon for regular videos. And you can also support the channel by becoming a Patreon, so do check that out as well, only if you're interested. And folks, keep your assets safe, and for that you guys can check out the Crypto Growth exclusive discount offer on Decent. Decent is convenient, safe, and secure. You can check out their biometric wallet, which has got a phenomenal $50 off. And you can also check out their biometric wallet 2x package, guys, which has got an astonishing $129 off, only if you follow the link in the description box below. By the way, folks, Decent supports 3000 plus of your favorite coins and tokens, and it supports 50 plus blockchain mainnets. I personally prefer storing the assets in a cold hardware wallet, so do check out Decent and be safe. Anyways, guys, now let us look into the price and chart of QNT at the time of the recording, and let's see what Quant has been up to lately, guys. So this is the chart of Quant, guys. It is up 1.31% for the day. The market cap has reached the $900 million mark again. In the last 7 days, it is up 4.44%, but in the last month, guys, it is down 4.54%. So nothing much in the month as well. If you look at the yearly, we went through a dip. Basically, we broke through some support levels. So let's hope that the price it remains intact, because, guys, we still have a lot of room to cover towards that all-time high. Let's hope that it happens soon. Anyways, guys, now let us look into a video over here. Let me share with you. This is What the Fintech, episode 5, blockchain, CBDCs, and programmable payments. You have to check this out yourselves, because this is 33 minutes long. We're going to be looking at the bits and pieces of this. So let's see what we have here. This is Fintech Futures, by the way. Shout out. So let's see, guys.
This episode of the What the Fintech podcast is sponsored by Quant.
Okay, so blockchain. Let's see this, guys. Okay.
Yes, when you look at these kind of numbers, then does that highlight, as you mentioned, their blockchain's importance, that it's maybe been quietly going about its business away from the hype and finding its place in the sector now?
Yeah, I think the very nature of blockchain, it's not very visible, and it is an infrastructure, and people will, in the future and in the near term, will be using a lot of blockchain technology without even realizing it. So by its very nature, it is there to enable trust between different intermediaries, to enable transactions and assets to flow on a new rail, on a new infrastructure, and then to do settlement in a slightly different way by giving people access to the asset or the funds that they can use digitally. It is quite transformative in financial services, and that's why it's quite important right now, and just as a hot topic, same as AI. What we're seeing is that evolution of what is this concept of blockchain, what does it do, how do we understand it, to where people today are actually looking at, we understand what it means, we see the benefits and the use cases of what blockchain can do, but tied to that, we're seeing the financial business case. You know, if we use and adopt blockchain technology for a particular flow, for a particular system, it really enables new bottom line revenue increase, cost savings in terms of doing things more efficiently, but then differentiating by having that technology embedded, you're able to create new forms of products. And you touched on a few, and you mentioned central bank digital currencies, programmability, tokenization. All of those things are new asset classes of instruments and an evolution of what we've already got. So they're far superior, and people are seeing the dollar signs that come with that.
Let's see what Quant can give us. This is Quant, guys.
Can you tell us a little bit more then about Quant and your position in the blockchain market? What kind of services and products do you offer?
So we're one of the early pioneers. I mean, the story of Quant started during the financial crisis when I was in HM Treasury trying to keep the economy running and the country safe. And this paper company.
By the way, guys, we're going to see the future of Quant over here. This is where the title is coming from, so stay tuned, guys.
comes out, and it really interested me as a cybersecurity person. So the whole idea of using a new form of network to enable trusted transactions, really, it got me thinking. And, it was very early on. So as the UK, we were quite early to assess the potential of blockchain back in 2009 as a country and as a government. But also, since then, it was all around, well, how do we make this mainstream and how do we make this global and easily acceptable by institutions and governments and enterprise? And for us, it was all around solving interoperability. Why do we need to force people to use one particular type of digital asset, one particular type of transaction, one particular type of blockchain? It should be uniformly interoperable, where everyone can flow and transact between all different types of networks without any silos or limitations. So that's what we set out to solve at Quant, and we did that very early on in 2017. We used our experience in enterprise and in institutions to create an enterprise approach for enabling digital assets and enabling interoperability of digital assets in all its forms, but also allowing that to easily integrate into existing core systems, banking, payments, whatever it may be. And the work that we've been doing is around using our platform, which is called Overledger, to create central bank digital currencies. We did the work with the Bank of England and the BIS on Project Rosalind. We issued the digital pound. We created the infrastructure around it, around the API, and then we allowed the industry to test in a real world setting what a central bank digital currency looks like for them in terms of payment flows. And then since then, we've been working in the same space around tokenizing commercial bank deposits, how to enable the functionality of what we brought to CBDCs through programmability. Multi-party lock systems was a new invention where you're able to create logic and programmability into money, so it can actually have conditions, transactions, events, all of those things built into money. When they occur and they're authorized, then the money can be released by the process. So all of that programmability and automation tied to a tokenized digital asset is where the market is heading and where the infrastructure is heading. So we're seeing that evolution from traditional finance to, we call it digital finance, because most of the finance we have today is electronic, and that was done 30, 40 years ago. And now we're seeing the beginnings of the transformation to digital finance in the forms of digital asset classes and in the forms of digital money, CBDCs, commercial bank deposits.
Sounds great. And yeah, you've touched on tokenization there as well. We're hearing a lot about that at the moment. Why are banks and other financial institutions then so excited about tokenization? And what are some of the key benefits to come from that?
So tokenization, technically, it's something that makes something a digital asset. It could be a physical asset. It could be an existing security. It could be anything. And what tokenization allows you to do is to encompass that in a new form and fractionalize that asset. So if it's illiquid, you automatically have a digital version of that asset where it can be quite liquid, and it can be very, from a velocity perspective, very easily moved and transacted globally. So you're not operating in silos. Your asset can pretty much transact anywhere in the world. So tokenization is the ability to create new asset classes. Larry Fink from BlackRock says tokenization is securitization on steroids. Or you take existing assets such as funds, bonds, securities, equities, derivatives, whatever they are, and you tokenize them in a new form. And then that way you have a better representation of that asset that is easy to transact because it's pretty much near real time. The complexity of post-trade processes come down. The velocity of the asset goes up because you're able to transact it with different types of investors all around the world. But then also the settlement of that asset tied to tokenized money, which is either a CBDC or commercial bank deposit, is going to really transform how assets are transacted globally. So you're able to have almost T+0 near real-time settlement with all the programmability embedded within the assets themselves. So the processes around making a trade are simplified and they become instant. And that's why it's exciting, because it really changes from the issuer's perspective. It changes how they can actually represent their assets, but it also gives investors access to new forms of assets, because you don't have to be a fund to access this asset or this fund that's listed on an exchange. You don't have to be a high net wealth individual with criteria to be able to access 500k minimum tickets just to get access to a new asset class. and you get access to better liquidity from the other end. So instead of just only selling the asset and trading the asset on one venue, you can trade on all venues because the asset is interoperable. It can work across networks and borders. So it's exciting from an investor perspective because they get better returns, better access to funds, different types of funds, and smaller portions of funds. And then it's better from an issuer's perspective because they get access to better liquidity because it becomes global in nature.
Excellent, excellent. And what are some of the key innovations that you're seeing in this space then? And how have you been looking to tap into tokenization?
We all know about innovations. Let's see what CBDCs have to offer.
I mean, we're still very much in the pilot stage, it seems, with CBDCs at the moment. If you had to put a number on it, how long would you say it might be before these projects see full launches? And is it just a matter of time until all countries have their own CBDCs?
I think it's been a wait and see assessment, but I think since last year there's been a catalyst to take the next step because they're seeing the benefits to CBDCs, how it takes friction out of the system. It creates huge opportunity from a GDP growth perspective. It improves competition between providers where consumers and businesses can have better products and better innovation. So I think the benefits and the business cases now add up, whereas previously they were trying to work out what's the economic impact, what's the benefit. It was very theoretical. So a lot of central banks have been experimenting in public, in collaboration, or themselves. So we've seen a lot of that. But what we're seeing now is the next step. What does a central bank digital currency look like in the financial system? Project Rosalind was a really good example of that. It was a very private-public approach where it tested what it means in the real world with banks using a real Bank of England issued CBDC, which was in the real world setting. And what did that mean to consumers and what would that mean to businesses? So they're looking at the design. How do you implement this new infrastructure? How do banks use this new infrastructure? And so they're looking at the journey of going into production, which most of them are aiming by the end of the decade. So creating a whole new payment system is quite complicated and takes many years, but they've already started that journey. So what we're seeing is CBDCs will happen by most jurisdictions that have identified the benefits. But what we're also seeing is commercial banks do not want to wait for a CBDC until the end of the decade because they see the benefits of having programmability in commercial bank money. And so they're already underway in designing and going post-experiment. What does tokenized pounds and dollars?
Guys, now let's see what the future of Quant has in store for us. Let's see.
Excellent. And looking to the future as well, I mean, what's next for Quant then as well moving forward?
We see ourselves as the core infrastructure to enable the transition from traditional finance to digital finance. And, we are actively working with many clients and many projects on this, but it's really enabling the interoperable flow of assets between participants, tokenizing assets, be it traditional equities, securities, instruments, or money, so tokenizing commercial bank money and central bank digital currencies, but then integrating and interoperating between all the different participants globally. So we see ourselves as the key infrastructure of the new digital finance economy and the enabler of how existing institutions and firms and venues can benefit from implementing digital assets and blockchain technology to gain access to all of these new markets, new products, and new innovation. So we're quite behind the scenes. I mean, a lot of people will be using Quant without knowing about it, but we're the infrastructure enabling this new economy that's emerging.
So guys, what do you guys think about the future of Quant? Do you think it is bright or do you think it is gloomy? Is it enabling the new economy of the world, or would it be forgotten soon? I would really like your opinions. Do it in the comment box below and let the community know. Anyways guys, this was it for the video. If you liked it, make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification icon if you're interested in utility coins and potential gems. And you can also support the channel by becoming a Patreon, so do check that out. Like I always say in the end, until next time, stay blessed and stay tuned. Thank you very much everyone.